Hi guys, it's CalamitiesDawn here and welcome to a new series of Undermine. I've played this one before and I recently got back into it because I actually want to complete it this time. So I've jumped in. The only thing that we won't be seeing in this first episode is the tutorial boss that you get when you first start playing, because I've already done that. I didn't think to record it at the time, and then I was like, no, I'm really into this, so I'm going to record it now. So pretty much all of the areas where there are enemies and such, I have sped up because it does take me a while sometimes to fight them. But I love these types of games just purely because I can bash everything up. Out of all the enemies that I have to fight in the first section here, I absolutely hate the bats. I cannot stand them. They're so frustrating. But I will pretty much, if I notice any gold veins, I will get them. Sometimes I do see them and just don't sort of memorize that I need to grab them, so do bear that in mind. I also used to hate, when I played this before, I used to hate dealing with the glomps or slimes because they used to I couldn't predict when they were going to jump. But this time around playing it, I seem to do pretty well alright with them sometimes. I had to take a minute there to figure out what way I wanted to go, if I wanted to get the relic or artifact first. Relic, they're relics, not artifacts. I get so confused when I play dungeon crawlers because some of them are called relics, some are called artifacts, and they're so interchangeable. yeah. I've also got, as you can see here, I kind of cut wherever, like the walking to the drop down, so that we don't have to watch all that, because it's like, it could be anywhere between another 2 to 3 minutes of extra footage that just doesn't need to be used. I absolutely hate trying to fight any of the glomps or any sort of creatures, monsters I should say, in these areas where there's like, I don't know, a labyrinth puzzle, suppose, thing. I also don't like the rat matrons because they seem to just knock me about something fierce. Also, something I should preface is that anytime I play this, if I have a key and it can get me an extra relic, I'm very much likely to do that. Should also state that I'm not like really good at these ones. I just try my best. I'm very much of a try and keep trying type of person. I think that's also why I like playing these games, because I get so much gratification once I actually manage to do something. I remember the first time I started playing Undermine, I forgot that, well, I didn't forget, but I kind of thought that you couldn't hit the slimes to get your money back, but you can. I also hate the rooms with the minefields. They really, really bother me. Especially when the rooms are filled with tons and tons of creatures, because I end up dying. I'm also going to explore rooms like this that may have keys and such in them, even if I can't get at them, because why not? I love blowing up rocks and occasionally getting food. It's very helpful when you don't have food. I also like that with some of the rooms that have treasure chests or items, that the game is pretty lenient with most of them. It'll allow you some way to get things if you don't have a key. Not always, but most of the time it does, which is good. I also have a habit of just smacking the slimes just because sometimes they annoy me that they're there. I also have made a mistake a couple of times with those bomb slimes, because I smack them and forget that when you smack them they just drop their bomb where they are. So that can get a bit frustrating. I just realised there was gold there, so I had to blow up the rock before I went and got my relic. I don't think I've had a run yet where I've had more than 6 relics, I think. I could be wrong. It's about 5 or 6, I think, is the most I've had. So I'm kind of curious to see how it'll go when you get further and further down the levels as it goes. Every time I'm in here, I always try to get nearly everything that you can get, unless if it's not something I'm going to use. I like getting these protein shake potions though, because they're quite helpful, especially because I tend to lose a lot of health because I don't focus on what I'm doing. I just sort of jump around and swing around and just go from there. This one took me a bit to figure out, which was really frustrating because I lost a decent amount of health from it. Because I kind of didn't realize that I had to unlock the middle bit to get rid of the crystal. Yeah. And then once I figured it out, it was all good. But then I was frustrated because I had to use the key to get the crystal. And I didn't have a key for the chest, so... Whoops. Another enemy I hate is those well, that's what they're called, lurkers. I can't stand the lurkers. They get quite frustrating. The Bobo, depending on where you are in the area, if they have areas like that where there's holes, they're quite easy to direct. I also can't stand these spiders. The spiders are very annoying. They give you poison and it's quite frustrating. But with the Bobo, if you have an area where there's like rails or a hole, the holes are better because you can just get them to fall down the hole and that's the be all end all. If they have rails, at least the spearing blades can do some damage. Speaking of, I got poisoned by a spider. I absolutely just love them. I had to leave that chest too because I didn't have anything on me. Have to admit that this next moment would have to be one of my not so proud moments, unfortunately. Because I tried to click talk and instead of clicking talk, I attacked. I did do a decent amount of damage here, but I ended up being hit pretty hard. And now we're going to go to get some upgrades. If I have enough money to spare, I make sure I try to get the upgrades as best as possible because there's nothing wrong with upgrades. And it does make things a bit easier. I'm also trying to make sure that I try and get a better idea on how to use the axe swinging because I don't use it very often. Axe swinging, axe throwing, pickaxe throwing. I don't like these rooms with the barrels. They can be handy sometimes, but when you've got the flying things and there's just barrels that are going to shoot fire at you, it can be a bit frustrating, especially when I'm trying to kill things that are right on my butt. I think there's a couple of relics in the game so far that I really like. A lot of the zodiac sign ones or star sign ones are pretty good, I find. I do apologize. I am having a severe flare-up of hay fever at the moment and it is frustrating me. Does anybody else here suffer with hay fever? I don't get it every year, but when I do get it, it gets very, very annoying. And the slightest thing can set it off. I don't know why, but for some reason when I went into the room there, I kind of just stood there for a bit and I lost health because I just stood there. I don't know why. I just sort of spaced out and forgot about it. I always find it pretty lucky, like when one of the find it pretty lucky when one of the first rooms that you can get has the merchant slime, gold slime. I don't know what it's called. I also hate walking into rooms like this with the blade right near the door because with the transition there's a bit of a stutter and so you could end up walking straight into it. And it gets quite frustrating, but it is what it is. I also don't know why I jump so much. I feel like it just gives me a bit more control, maybe. And so I can't get hit as often, I suppose. I don't know, I feel like it's just a habit of mine. I also like when I do register that there's these sparkly little, I can't even think of the word, sparkly indications on the map, because that does indicate that there is secret rooms, and I always like going into secret rooms. They're great. The only time I don't is if I'm not prepared, like in such as having extra bombs or keys, because there has been times where I've gone into them and I require bombs and keys and I have neither. And then I have to walk away and hope that maybe after breaking a couple of things around the map that I'll get some, but not always guaranteed, unfortunately. I also don't mind when I get these random rooms where you just have a chest that's openable without a key. It's pleasant. It satisfies the loot goblin in me. I think I've bought something that, it might not have been bought something. It might have been a relic where every time I opened it, I had an increased chance of getting either food or more gold or more bombs. I think there's relics like that. I also make sure that whenever I get these crystals that it's probably a good idea to break them, because you can get fire, lightning, poison. They're all pretty handy. This was a bit frustrating because I didn't realize it was going to be a trapped chest and I got hit with poison big time. I kind of thought because it looked so dangerous that maybe like it was going to be hiding a good reward, but in the end it was like, nope. I also don't mind using this potion because it increases your little bird friend's levels. Not increases it, sorry. It you get a bonus whenever you collect gold to help increase its level. I'm always going to buy keys and meat whenever I can, or if there's bombs and I need bombs, I'll buy them as well. Depending on which relic I have relating to my bombs also depends on whether I buy more or not. There was one I got the other day that for one I've recorded. I don't remember what it was called, but it was great. But the ones that I normally get are bombushkas, so they're pretty cool. Because like when you drop them with a bombushka, you get more and more and more dropping as well. At this point, I kind of realized I could have done the fire crystal and then I could have been hitting the gloops, globs, slimes. I'm terrible with, I'm just going to call them slimes because I keep forgetting what they're called. But I could have very much hit them with the fire crystal and that would have done some fire damage, especially because they're covered in oil. I also like watching the little money slimes try and come and get your gold when there's spinning blades because they just go like flying off in the other direction. I don't really do much with Black Bunny because she's a ripoff. She's just a genuine ripoff. Like, I know she's got to make her money somehow, but I don't want it to be by ripping me off. I feel like nearly every level there's a shop. If not, it's every second level, but I'm grateful either way. Only thing I hate about the Bobos is if I'm trying not to attack them and I'm trying to attack something else and I hit them instead, because they just go flying at you. I also hate when I'm not paying attention and I jump around and fall down holes. That's just as frustrating. I find that the rooms filled with the rats aren't too bad. They can get quite frustrating, but not too bad. I've also figured out too that you can peep on these skeletons and sometimes you can get keys or bombs or, I don't know, the thorium, which is pretty good too. I got hit by the blades because I wasn't paying attention to where I was going. I was just wanting to pick up the gold, and then after a while I'm just like, nah, I'm good. I'm good, mate. Like, let's just leave it. See, this is one of those rooms where I was talking about that I think that Undermine plays it a bit fairly. I could have a key to get the key to then get the chest, but they give you an area where you can blow it up, which is quite handy. I also like the random meat that drops occasionally. It's quite refreshing, especially for somebody who's not sort of good with these dungeon crawler type games. I don't know if I'd call it dungeon crawler or roguelike, but I don't know. I like it. It's good. I also don't like dealing with Bobo in a small room. It makes things very difficult. I got frustrated because this run I got the float boots and it didn't really do much for me because I didn't end up traversing any of the areas that I needed to. And we've got our first big boss fight. So this is Celt, Queen of the Sand. Because I've played Undermine before and I have defeated Celt before, I kind of knew what I was doing going into it. Still didn't mean that I won. I failed, as you can see here. But it did give me a bit more confidence knowing what I was doing, rather than going into a boss fight not knowing what I was doing. But the boss fights to come after this, I'll have no idea what I'm doing. None at all. I skipped most of the bits and pieces that I had to do because it was just loot, and jumped straight back into getting Celt again. I'm going to pretty much have the episodes be so one boss per episode, I suppose would be the best way to do it. We got new blueprints so we can get new relics that we can craft. And we also get a key to progress to the next area, which is great. No, I don't even try to talk to these guys, I just leave it. But we unlock the door, and that's it for this episode. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.